What's up, guys? Pittsburgh White Schwartz back again with another Rush Rundown. This time, we're going to be going over Attack on Titan in the English competitive metagame. This is going to be a quick, concise overview of AOT's strengths, weaknesses, and notable cards that you need to know about in order to effectively play into it, all in 10 minutes or less. These aren't going to be totally comprehensive, and we include a lot of information and move pretty fast, so if you need to pause, feel free to do so. And with that, let's get right into it. AOT, the monster of the English metagame, the deck that everyone's feared playing into for a long time. This deck is very strong and even today is still one of the most powerful decks in the scene. The deck leverages its incredibly strong plussing and denial tools into a consistent high power finisher and doesn't really care too much about what the opponent's doing. AOT is the premier tempo strategy in White Schwartz, having strong offensive options and defensive options that will deny your card advantage and preserve their field at the same time. All builds require reverses at level 1 for its combo, and level 3 they try to get reverses as well. Looking at level 0s for the deck, their level 0 game is highly mobile. They're going to try to give you the runaround. You're going to see 4 copies of Sea's Freedom Armin, or otherwise known as the Armin Runner. He is 3,500 power and can only run to the middle, but that still allows him to cover a lot of area on the field, so watch out for this card. This is the central point of their level 0 game. Moving on, probably the most notable card in the set, Anti-Titan Device Omnidirectional Mobility Gear, usually just referred to as gear or mobility gear for short. This card can be used on either player's turn, either during combat or on their own turn during their main phase. They can search their deck for a core character, which is a common trait of the deck, add it to their hand, and then discard a card. If they use this card as a counter, however, during your attack phase, they get to move one of their characters from the field to an open position somewhere else on their field. They get to preserve their field by running out of the way of your stronger character. They get to deny any on reverse effect you might have, and at the same time they get to compress their deck and fix their hand all at the same time on your turn. Also notable is that there is a second option of mobility gear that the AOT player can run that allows the AOT player to return one of their characters to their hand and then salvage a character in their waiting room and discard. This one can be used even if they have a full field. When you're playing against AOT, try to keep an eye out if they're running the 1/1 gear, because not everyone runs it, but a lot of people do. The other notable card in the set that grabs your gears is Fate to Bear Eren, the poster child of AOT. When he attacks, he gets 500 power times the number of other characters with Eren or Mikasa or Armin in their card name. So most of the cards in the deck. Definitely make sure to keep your opponent honest, though, as if they have any other characters on the field like Krista, Annie, Sasha, or anyone else in the brigade, do not give 500 power. With his climax combo, Eren can swing for up to 7,500. That's like his max power. He can usually swing for between 6,500 and 7,500 power. And whenever he gets a reverse, he adds a mobility gear back from waiting room to hand and gives himself the ability that when he's frontal attack, he can return himself to the AOT player's hand. This is the best plussing combo in English. This is potentially the best level 1 combo in the whole game, as it allows the AOT player to get a +2 with 1 reverse. Adding the mobility gear back to their hand is a +1, and then Eren removing himself from combat and going back to the AOT player's hand is an additional plus. It's a very scary card to play against. The only drawback of this card is that it does require a reverse, so definitely something to keep in mind. Moving on to early play options that AOT has access to, there are 2. They utilize change abilities. More impactful one is the Armin change. There is a 2/1 Armin that can tap to give 2,500 power to a character for the turn, and then at the encore step, if he is resting on the field, he can send himself to waiting room to play level 3 Armin from your hand. And when level 3 Armin enters the field, the AOT player gets to look at the top X cards from their deck and add one of them to their hand. Armin is notable because he gives 2,000 power to both of the characters who are in front of him, if he is in the back row, as well as the hexproof ability, which says that those characters cannot be targeted by any of your card effects. He himself also has hexproof ability, which makes him incredibly difficult to deal with, as there's no way to actually get him off the field or target him once he's down. This makes it difficult to anti-change AOT, as well as potentially shutting off your finisher if you require some sort of targeting effect. Most notably, Megumi from Konosuba, and negative soul combos from many decks like Cardcaptor Sakura and Bang Dream. Going into this matchup, it is important to do your homework and learn if your finisher is a targeted finisher or an untargeted finisher. The other change in Attack on Titan is this Resisting Fate Mikasa. This Mikasa changes from the 2/1 Mikasa pictured next to it and sits at 11,000 power and has the ability that your opponent can pay 1 at the beginning of your attack step and switch this character with another character on their field. This can make it tricky to reverse AOT's field, as now in addition to worrying about mobility gear and Aaron, you now have to worry about Mikasa running in front of your characters even when they have a full field. However, this card does not see as much play as the Armin, and it's more of a toss-up whether you'll see this card or not, but something definitely to be aware of. Moving into more traditional early play options for AOT, there are 2 big ones that you will see, and both of them require the same early play condition of you having a level 3 or higher character on your field. This means that outside of the Mikasa change, which doesn't always see play, if you do not early play any cards, your opponent can also not early play their cards. However, both of AOT's early plays have effects that can kill your early play quite easily. Sasha's ability says when she is played, the AOT player mills the top card of their deck and chooses one of your level X or lower characters and kills it, X being the level of the card milled. The Aaron, pictured next to it, is the more commonly run option, gets 500 power per other character, and has cancel burn the turn he's played. The finisher of choice in AOT, which you're going to see in literally every list, is going to be Seize Freedom Mikasa. On play, she draws a card and gets 2,000 extra power for the turn and combos with a split 2k1 climax, which allows her to reach very high levels of power quite easily, especially when combined with the level 3 Armin in the back row. With the climax in play, when this card attacks, you will automatically burn for 1 damage, and then if they happen to reverse your character, the AOT player can pay 2 and burn you for 1 a second time. The AOT player can throw out a lot of instances of damage and swing for very controlled amounts because of how they can split up the soul from the split 2k1 and the multiple ping effects from Mikasa. This is a very dangerous finisher, and if you have a way to deny reverses of your own, these in mind. Notable counters in the set, aside from the mobility gears mentioned before, the 2-1 Jean is a waiting room anti-change for 2,500, and the 2-1 Aaron counter is for 3,000 power and sends your character to memory if they happen to reverse you. As far as board clearing and bombing options are concerned, AOT really doesn't have too many options. The most notable one you'll see will be the Aaron Titan, pictured on the far left. Most of these other cards you see will not generally be run, although the level 0 Levi does see a bit of play as well. He reaches 10,000 power when he's attacking into a level 3, and is a good green fix for AOT builds that would like to splash in green cards. As stated before, every AOT build is going to be running the Mikasa finisher. Most of the time is going to be running the Aaron combo mentioned before. The Wind 2k1 climax split is the most common to see. However, there is also another combo that also combos with mobility gear with Krista, which is an on-reverse salvage mobility gear and send the top card of their deck to their stock. So to wrap up, AOT does have a Riki. They are not level lockable. Keep that in mind, as if they're sitting at 0.5 or even 0.4 sometimes, they can get themselves up to level 1 and execute their level 1 combo. AOT doesn't run too many anti-change options, but they do have access to many different ones if they choose to run them. But most of the time, it's going to be level 3 early play Aaron or Sasha that only early plays if you have a level 3 on field. Keep in mind that if you don't early play, they can't early play. The most popular build, again, is the Win 2k1, and it's not even close. That's what everyone plays. Unless something drastic changes in the metagame, this is what you should expect to see if they're playing AOT. The biggest strength of AOT is its efficiency for sure. Mobility gear acts as functional second copies of every character in their deck, and this incredible plussing power and card selection of level 1 Aaron combo and the gear that he grabs allows the AOT player to consistently see the characters they want to see every game. However, this leads into big weakness of AOT that you should be trying to exploit. The deck crutches very hard on its level 1 combo, and if for whatever reason they are unable to reverse it with their Aarons at level 1, or do not draw their Wind climax combo, the deck can struggle to hold card advantage. And you definitely need to watch out for this set going into a tournament environment, especially if you're trying to make it to the top table, as it is a favorite among many of Weiss's best players. That's basically AOT. If you liked the video, drop a like or leave a comment to let us know how we did, or maybe share some of your own advice on tips and tricks you have for this matchup. We'll be releasing more Rush Rundowns every Monday and Wednesday, and our usual deck techs on Fridays. Along with these links, we have all the Discords and Facebook groups we are part of, and our Twitters down below if you'd like to check those out. And with that, we're done. Pittsburgh White Shorts signing off, and we'll see you again in the next one.